Mhuri yeZimbabwe kusangana kwatiri kuita zvakare ipo pano paSimu News Update, apo patinoda kupa mafirst hand update anonga ari kuitika munyika yedu yeZimbabwe. So kana uri mutsva usabve pano usina kusubscribe, kulike nekushare. Tichiti mangwanana akanaka kwamuka sei kumativi mana enyika kwemungadai muri. So panapa ndiri kuuya ndakati kavhei maupdates akati wandei pasame video. Tine update raAuxillia Mnangagwa naMebho Chinomona, tine update raBhekimpilo Mbidzo, tine update futi rezvimwe zvezvinhu zviri kuitika kuKariba, uye tine chirongwa chetichakusiyai muchinzwa pano chevanhu vari kudiscassa kuti muchazove muine opposition ichafunctiona sana MDC T here vana Morgan Tsvangirai vaya, kana kuti zvakatongovharana zvakadaro. Tichakusiyirai tsananguro idzodzo muchidzinzwa. So tiri kuona nhaurwa yaMebho Chinomona naAuxillia Mnangagwa haisina kumira zvakanaka, patiri kuona munin'ina waMebho Chinomona akashayika, sezvo zvetiri kuona kuti anaMebho Chinomona vari kufungidzira kuti sezvo zvavari kukwikwidzana naAuxillia Mnangagwa, vari kufungidzira kuti Auxillia Mnangagwa ndo vanofanira varivo vakatumira vanhu vakaassassinata munin'ina waMebho Chinomona, sezvo zvetiri kuona kuti Auxillia Mnangagwa vanozviita because tiri kuona kuti that muroora vavo second wife yaCollins Mnangagwa ndo vakatuma mapurisa, maCIO nemaCID kuti vange vachienda kumba kwake kunoita zvemadrugs. So muri yeZimbabwe tiri kuona kuti Mebho Chinomona zvakabuda kudhara zvinhu izvozvo. Mebho Chinomona navaMnangagwa vari kunzi vane mwana wese. Tinoziva kuti chokwadi chacho chakamira sei. So tiri kuona Mebho Chinomona ndo mashoko vari kuedza kunge vari vanomakerana namai Auxillia Mnangagwa, because tiri kuona kuti Auxillia Mnangagwa vakasvika pakunzwa nhauhwa dzakafanana neidzodzo. Tisikazive kuti nhauhwa yacho ichapera sei. So tichipinda munhauhwa dzaBhekimpilo Mbidzo, Bhekimpilo Mbidzo tiri kuona kuti pane pakutaurwa nhauhwa dzekutanga achipiwa bail out, but tiri kuona kuti Bhekimimpilo Mbidzo vanoongorora nenhauhwa dzacho vanga vari kutaura kuti anofanira kusiya passport kumatare ezemhosva, but zvazoongororwa zvakaonekwa kunzi Bhekimimpilo Mbidzo haana passport, because takangozvitaura panapa tichiziva kuti no, that guy panongopera that demo ye31 July anogona kungobuditswa mhuri yeZimbabwe. So ndo zvakutoitika pari zvino, tiri kuona kuti Bhekimimpilo Mbidzo akubuditswa. So tichipinda mudzimwe nhau tiri kuona kuti zvakaitika paferi dzebhoti riya rekuita accident kuKariba. Tiri kuona ana Daniel Garwe vakazobuditsa mashoko vakabuda vachitaura vachiti no, that munhu wese akafira mumvura achatsvagwa, achavanikwa, uye vaMnangagwa vati vachaisa rimwe bhoti nyuwani, because tiri kuona kuti vanhu vanga vakushandisa bhoti because maroads kwanga kusisina maroads anoti anga achifambira mota, because tiri kuona kuti from Bulawayo to Victoria Falls ndo for example vane example iyoyo mhuri yeZimbabwe yeroad kutoti haichatofambiki kufambira mudhasti kuri nani mapotholes ari muroad idzodzo. Chinova chiricho chiratidzo chinoratidza kuti zvinhu hazvina kutombomira zvakanaka. So tiri kuona pano vaDaniel Garwe vabuda vachitaura kuti no, zvinhu zvese zvichange zvichigadziriswa apo. Tiri kuona Minister of Transport haana kukwanisa kuuya because ari kurwara nedziwa mupengo radai kunetsa muno munyika yeZimbabwe. Ndokutsanangura kwaita the Minister of Local and Government vaDaniel Garwe vari chairman kuMashi East. Sezvo tinoziva kuti Daniel Garwe ndiye mumwe vevanhu vanongotaura zvese mhuri yeZimbabwe, zvekutoti zvaanonga angonzwa kungoda anongotaura kungoti no, that takakupa land nyangwe ine title deeds government yakati iri kupada hauna, nyangwe kuenda kumatare edzemhosva unenge wakangodyiwa. Zvinhu zvinotaurirwa izvo mhuri yeZimbabwe, nyangwe tichiziva kuti ZANU-PF yakacapture matare edzemhosva, but haungasviki pakutaura mashoko akadaro uchitaurira macitizen. Chiratidzo icho chinoratidza kuti zvinhu hazvina kutombomira zvakanaka zvinenge zvichiitwa naDaniel Garwe naPresident Emmerson Mnangagwa, because vari kutonga nedema musina justice muno munyika yeZimbabwe. So tiri kuona panapa veruzhinji vari kutaura nenhauhwa yeferi chibhoti ichocho chekuita accident, kutoti no, ZANU-PF inozotanga kuda kumiramira pafa vanhu, because tiri kuona kuti zvine zvakutoda kutenga bhoti nyuwani, because bhoti roro riri kunzi ndera 1985 so tiri kuona kuti vari kunzi vakuda kutenga bhoti nyowani nekutoti panga pafanwa tiri kuona kuti rakafamba pasi rino rese. Takaona kuti ana SABC zvinhu izvozvo zvaibuda mhuri yeZimbabwe vachinyatsa kubudisa nemadhesi acho kutoti that bhoti nevanhu pavanga vachitokwira vachitotanga kutokwira kuti vanoda kukwira mubhoti iri ibhoti rudziko iri bhoti iri. Tiri kuona kuti veruzhinji ndo vaizotaura kuti that captain akazofa ndiye aiita nharo dzekutanga inga vachienda but tiri kuona kuti mahwindi checho richasimuka mahwindi ekumabhoti aitotaura kuti bhoti iri hationi rakasvika nezvinhu zviri kuitika mhuri yeZimbabwe. So ndokutenda nekutira kumakaita pano toda kuti munzwe chirongwa chetinacho pano ungotiudza mucomment section ungochifungei.
I don't jump and come here and start saying, yes, guys, it is strategic. What?
Were you part of the group that organized the debate?
It is the ambiguity.
Aye, Uncle Jet. Ambiguity I should know because I was part of creating it. If it is, and all of us will know what is and why we are doing it. When to save it when it's going wrong. When to defend it when someone wants to change it. So that's how they constructed the people in the 50s. First, you give the knowledge of what things are. What are they? What are reconnaissance missions? There are things people were told. Even if you see by newspaper, Smith giving it a different context, leave it because it's what is reconnaissance. And I'm not going to correct. Same thing. You are lying. I'm not wearing a dress. I was actually helped. There will be people chopped that help him because they know who they talked to where. Now you are killing your own system. So he keeps quiet, same as the Van Kumaruzeva. They now knew. Even if Smith asked questions, Bakafura Bakaenda Apa, Smith ended up knowing Van Veku Zimbabwe used to give wrong directions. Mumoti, I saw them. They went left. Next house was also saying, I saw them. They went right. Mumakati, I saw them. They are still up the hill. Can you see that these are people who had already been told? They are consistent in their lives, not to deny seeing. Because Smith will know that they saw them. How can you miss Murungu in your village? You get some things, Uncle Jed.
Yeah.
Murunga Kasrikam village, can we say we didn't see them or we are asking to be beaten? How can we miss a Murungu?
They can be the only gay in the village here.
So they would all say, yes, I saw him. You mean Master Jackie? He's still up in the mountain there. I just saw him. 5 houses down, someone will say, no, I saw him. He was getting in the car.
Absolutely.
Going left. But they are sending them all over the place. They understood. This is not a time where you can just be saying, I didn't see things that are obviously unmissable. So Isusu, we need to learn. There are lies we can't tell. Even Zanu knows you are lying. Can't say we have no structure. You field candidates in every ward, every constituency around Zimbabwe. Nine, Uncle Jet.
Anyway, okay, well, let's take it and do 10. I'm assuming it's do 10. But anyway, yeah, right. Right. Aru, do you want to come through?
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion, really, and I was just listening to what was being said, and I'm still stuck on the part of the conversation when we were talking about the diaspora raising money, and I couldn't help but think, okay, Saka diaspora yacha raise money and what are they raising money for? And I think someone kind of addressed that. But then it got me to start thinking about this whole elitism thing. That us in the diaspora, whether we like to see or not, we have a level of elitism that we have. Because often we want to proffer solutions for people on the ground, and some of us haven't been home for over 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but yet we like know because of the news that we're getting, that we're seeing online, maybe family members that we're talking to, then all of a sudden we know exactly the reality of the people on the ground. Sometimes we don't think about that. And then I started to think about um the 31st. Like I cannot get the 31st out of my mind
Mhm.
because I was slaughtered. I was thrown to the
What were your
wolves.
what were your expectations? 31st.
I had no expectations when everything was in process, right? I was uh analyzing and seeing kuti zvatangira papi, how is it going and all of that stuff. So
Right.
I was quite sure that the outcome that we got was the outcome we were going to get. That we were not going to see Zimbabweans on the street in their numbers.
Mm-hmm.
To the point yekuti ndandakutonzi ndiri munhu wezano because I was trying to cause confusion. And majority of the people who kept encouraging people to go on the streets, vangori
Uh-huh.
vanhu veve if you were to ask them, and I never asked them like publicly because I didn't want to sell, like, it's an awkward question to ask someone at a time like that. Kuti,
Mm-hmm.
where are you going to be on the street in Zimbabwe? And I can tell you, majority of the people who would say that they were not on the street. There's only one person, one lady that I know who was speaking about this, who was on the street in Zimbabwe. And
Right.
she did a video actually, and she was actually saying this, Kuti, I was the only one, I was one of the only people, not many people came out. And she had high expectations, very high energy, really young lady, went from South Africa to Zimbabwe for this protest. And not many people showed up. I dare I say no one, but obviously she showed up. But the numbers were very, very low. Of course, with the way it was hyped up online and everything, and how ZANU reacted, and even the stay away, there were some businesses that were closed, schools were closed, and so forth. So there was an element of success from a stay away point of view. But in terms of people going onto the street, it was evidently empty. So it then I started to go back on the things that I was critiquing during the time.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one side and one side. None of them are talking to each other. And both of them, when you ask them, have you spoken to each other about this? No, they haven't. But immediately they're all on the defense. They're all attacking one another. And it didn't make sense to me. And I thought, where do we go from this? So when you looked at the people that were saying go on the street, go on the street, go on the street, they were the ones that were out of the country. When you saw the ones that were saying stay away, stay away, they were ones in the country. Now imagine how powerful it would have been, both the people on the ground and then in the diaspora, to come together and create a solution together. It would have been powerful. That thing would have been a success. There would have been a strategic plan. There would have been certain, like all the details that we would need for something like that. It would have been a success. Another problem that we had is that we had different messaging. Many people were saying, oh, ZANU-PF must go, ZANU-PF must go, ZANU-PF must go.
Mm-hmm.
Many people were then saying, Iowa, no, we just want to remove CAB 3. So then it leaves confusion because, okay, now you've removed CAB 3. Are you saying that you're still happy with the current government, how it is? That in itself wasn't really answered. Now, yes, of course, we should campaign against CAB 3. We don't want CAB 3 to go on, etc., and so forth. But there's so many things within the country that are being like mutilated, things that are just being chopped and changed, policies that we don't even really agree with and don't even really know about because we're too busy talking about things that don't really matter sometimes. Now, I'm including myself in that. Sometimes I hear someone saying, oh, especially Dr. Sadini is actually quite good at pointing out that there are like certain policies that are being passed, but I don't do the part of going and reviewing those policies and what are being changed, like, it being changed. Of course, we campaigned about CAB 3, but
Mm-hmm.
do we know the intricacies of majority of the policies that are being passed or have been passed in the last year or two? We don't. And so this is where now I think like we've got so much of our work cut out for us. And I see that another thing that we don't like to admit in all of this is how us as a people are also corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
In the diaspora, and I'm speaking specifically in the UK,
Right, go on.
if you invite people to come to a meeting to talk about resistance or whatever, you get some numbers, but it's the same type of people. But if you tell people to come to Zimfest, to come to Mafaro, people listen, people are renting cars. People are making sure they bought their best outfits. People are making sure kuti vafinesa mashuga didavo, make sure kuti vachandiendesa vachanditengera mabhodhoro, what. People are like strategic in their approach to Zimfest, Mafaro, and Kudakwa.
But can I come into that room?
Yeah,
We
go.
can't keep seeing social organizations, like you mentioned, and distancing ourselves. Has anyone attempted to go to Zimfest and have a tent for chatting to people about the resistance at Zimfest? No, we ignore them. We now start to push them away. A resistance has got a side, iri fun. We have created a boring resistance. Resistance has fashion, Uncle Jet. Yendai ku Zimfest. Makafeka mabere enyu madi style ye resistance.
But Masi,
People
don't you
are
think that some
enticed.
of this is also because there is already a resistance to resistance?
No, I'm now speaking. Remember in the beginning I said, now we have to reveal the truth. It's not scapegoating and blaming others. To me, I look at it like this, Uncle Jet. All these guys with their banners, their
Mm-hmm.
organizational announcement thumbnail, or what do you
Mm-hmm.
call them? Sorry, Uncle Jet. Announcement.
My slogan.
No. Like if I'm looking at Dobbs, I can see it says Zim for us. And
Oh, the display picture, yeah.
he is already doing a protest. It's called bearing public witness. Did you go and ask him, what is this, bro? Where do you meet? Where can I get involved?
Mm-hmm.
And a protest is not an event. Politics is the one that made the protest an event where we only meet on the street. This is a protest. You are bearing public witness that opposition and myth or organic change, rethinking political. Are you not publicly bearing witness to this conversation?
Yeah.
Are you secret?
Mm-hmm.
Did you call
Unless you're in
people?
other listeners.
Yeah, even the other listener was enticed to the public. It's them who chose to listen to the public. Akamira Mumba market through the window. But it is happening on the street, isn't it? So we have to rethink our responsibility, our political responsibility. Dobbs is here. Zim says no is here. And it's when my upside down flag are here. When my what economic whatever are here. These are the social groups. Africa must be free. Chi chi chi. If we do not connect, and where will we build those social institutions?
But Masi, the point I was trying to make here is that even in the building, and you see this, right, when we're having our women of resistance, that, and this is not necessarily to focus on numbers, but the engagement of the Zimbabwean people in participating in these organizations that we're saying to the degree of going and taking it, having a stand, etc., it's not there. Now, why do I say this? Because even the organizations that have been created, majority of the people are giving the bare minimum participation. And
But Ru,
that's,
we just went through the book.
I
Is it
know.
the people's fault, oppressed people's fault, or they are just reacting to their conditioning? Divide and
No, but
conquer.
I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just
So
saying that's
we
the
have to
reality.
set up that which makes the people. Did we go out into the people and have a conversation?
No, I understand. I'm just diagnosing the problem.
Yes,
Before
the
we
problem
obviously like
is,
say, okay, this is the solution, right? But I'm just saying the reality of where things are to date.
yes,